So
it's what I forgot to do, so there we are. We've just missed the intro, but it's fine. I've now got the recording going. This is why I usually have my trusty assistant sitting at the side of me going, make sure you're recording. So yeah, just remembered.
Well, those people who couldn't attend tonight and are watching the replay, you've missed all the free stuff and the special prizes and everything. So
sorry, you should, that's it, make sure you get on live next time.
Life lesson for you there, fellas.
So before we really kind of kick into sort of questions and talk about the week, I thought I would just read the blurb just to kind of whet some people's appetites, you know, for what's coming. And for those of you who haven't yet got a chance to get a hold of it, this is what the book is all about. So it's, what was your lockdown like? Did you smash it? Did you yoga every day, learned Mandarin, painted the entire house? Nope, neither did I. But if you want a good laugh and a galloping read, join me in the retelling of my family's lockdown experience, starting on the first day of lockdown 1, or just lockdown as we called it then. We didn't know that it was destined to be a mini-series. This book brings you our hilarious antics, a few tears and many stroppy episodes. Food was an issue, as you will find out, so this book is best read with snacks and wine. And I definitely smashed it on the wine front, but you have to recognise your achievements, don't you? I mean, I think it perfectly sums up all the kind of content of your book. So congratulations on getting it done. Super, super pleased for you. So before we kind of kick off into that, tell us a little bit though about you. You know, what when you're not writing books then, and what else are you getting up to?
I feel as though I should come back to that question just in 1 second, because I am distracted by my 2 boys who have come online. They're at their dad's. So do you want to unmute yourself, fellas, and say
hello? Let me go and say hi. So
hello. Yeah.
There they are. So that Archie and James, who do of course feature in the book, and behind the, you know, sort of between the lines as well, because one of the big issues was actually catering for the masses. I mean, it was one adult male, me, and 2 teenagers, but boy oh boy, they pack it away. So yeah, and the funny antics from them as well. They've been looking through the book and going, I did not say that.
It's written down, so it absolutely must be true.
Mainly making fun of me though, you know, so that's all right, or driving me up the wall. And it was the wall that Archie and I came up with the title, didn't we, fella? We were talking about something about being in the house, and then I said, will you just drive me? And we came up together with it all. So yeah, so bit of credit there.
Well done, boys. So that you can speak to your mum about any royalties that might be due then for.
Definitely.
I'll take it off the bill.
That's it. So yes, it's great. So we've got the whole team then on tonight, because we've got Sean sitting beside you. Where are the dogs? Are the dogs around?
Well, in true Whippet style, they've been out for a walk and they've now had their tea, so they'll have to go for their further nap. For like 22 hours a day if anyone's got sight hounds. But yeah, so they're going for that. But the cat is sitting glaring at me. But yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about them in a wee while. So gang's all here, and so yeah, you're a fantastic writer. You know, I absolutely loved this because it is funny. You can really get into the, you know, and I could hear your voice, having gotten to know you a little bit as we've been working with you. I could hear your voice as I'm reading it. You know, it's really you're coming across, which is great. But when you're not writing, what else are you, and being a mum to these 2 and feeding the world and keeping everybody going, what else are you doing?
Well, I run a training and HR company, so I do mention that in the book, because at the start we were, you know, all the work collapsed. It started in February, really. You know, conferences and training courses got cancelled, and but then actually at the start of lockdown we were doing a lot of work online with clients, you know, who were before furlough. you know, we just, you know, everyone just closed and try to navigate through that. It's only really now starting to come back up, of course, but I do a lot of training and coaching and HR work. So around the region and nationally, and Sean does training work, but using his acting skills, you know, so.
The thespian in the house.
We do work together, but he does more of that drama-based learning. So him and the people he works more closely with, Sean and Harry, they tend to do more of the national work. So I try to stay in the region if I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's good, and I'm enjoying being back at work. Although it started getting busier about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I thought, I'm just not match fit. I don't think I can keep up. I'm having to do things consecutive days, you know. So that's taken a bit of ramping back up. But yeah, getting there, getting used to being back out and seeing people in the flesh as well, which is neat.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, you know, I think coming back and reading your book, it was taking us back to that very first, when you know, lockdown was a new word, you know, furlough was a new word, as we said, you know, that, you know, you mentioned that in the book, you know, but you know, have you furloughed? Oh, you've always furloughed, is that right, Audrey? You know,
exactly. Oh, did you not ever do that? We always furloughed. Everyone banding about these new words, weren't they? But yeah, when that lockdown first happened, I think I said in the book, it was like you were hurtling down a motorway, obviously not speeding. You will read, if you read the book, you know I'm a big advocate of road safety and cycling. But you're tooting along the motorway and then you suddenly stop. So you're sort of got that anxiety. And then I found myself cleaning windows and being up at 5 and, you know, doing it. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I wasn't a nightmare to live with at all, was I?
Not at all. So what about, I mean, I think that's the thing, you kind of go back to this, and because it's been the norm now for, you know, 18 months, so it's almost strange to kind of step back and think about this just emerging.
Yeah.
And so you were writing about this as it happened. You know, you hadn't started to really, I suppose at this time, had you thought about this as being a book, or was just this is just your usual way of kind of capturing your life?
Yeah, it was, I'm an avid journaler. The first, so I sort of first started in earnest when Sean and I went on this big trip, and a good friend of mine, Francis, bought me a little journal. So I started doing that, and so I every holiday we go on, you know, when we're at the end of the day, I'll be scribbling down the kind of highlights, but the little funny everyday things that you just don't want to forget. You know, I've got a bit of an expression that your holiday snaps of, you know, all the sites that you've been on, you know, they're absolutely fantastic, of course they are, but actually the ones that you really like to pore over are that kind of 1976 Cortina and the Perm in 1982. And, you know, and so it's remembering all those little things that are just make up that family history.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And behind me are where the journals are, so you'll not be able to see it maybe, but there's a few journals and then there's a gap. So just to let you know, that's how many journals it takes to write the book. This one started, that's where lockdown starts, halfway through that one. And then we go through, they have little expressions. This one's out of the blue. And this one is don't believe in everything you read. I get them from Smythson's and don't tell them, but I try and just always get them in the sale. So the actual little printed bit on the front is slightly random. And that's where the 100 days comes to, you know. So I then just started by, I think I gave myself a little bit of a rest and I said, phew, the countdown to day 100 has finished. But of course I carry on, and this is the current one, you know, so I'm scribbling away, just capturing everything. We were in Edinburgh seeing my brother at the weekend, and we went to one of the art galleries, and the boys saw a little notebook in the art gallery shop that said, watch what you're doing, otherwise you'll end up in my blog. And they went, You should get that.
Go out the blog and write book. That's it.
Exactly, capturing it all. But they do play a bit of a row. They go, is it going on Facebook or is it going in a book? There's no.
But
there's
it is
privacy, is there?
it is that capturing of the day-to-day and the small things, because there's so much that I have completely forgotten about, that happened. But reading this and reading the detail of it, of what happened day and daily, you were kind of going, oh God, yeah, I remember that now. Oh God, I'd forgotten all about that. So I think, it's a great way, just, I suppose, just even for your family in future, those generations still to come, that are going to kind of go, oh yeah, we can read our great grandma's journals and pull them out, and there was a book that she published all those years ago. The boys are going, oh no, what is she saying?
Exactly. A bit of ranting. I was saying to Sean, I'll show everyone the little books, the little battered books. I mean, usually they're more battered, but of course I didn't take them anywhere, did I? So it was only writing in the house. But there's quite a bit more in there. I did have to take. I've taken out some of the ranting, and a bit of swearing. So I have cut it down, and then I cut down the repetition because Because actually, I was doing it more of a sort of therapeutic thing, and then I think once I got to day 50, I thought, I might just keep going, and then I'll go for 100. I'll go for 100, and then it was quite a relief to kind of get to that. But I've taken out the repetition because obviously we walk the dogs every day, so I've kept in the highlights. But to represent the dog's voice, I've put in that little whippet wordery things, just so that people can get to know them because they are characters.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing, is that they get their own voices then, and I think I remember when you and I were first talking about what you had written and how much part of your lives that the animals were. It was like, yeah, absolutely, they need to have their voice heard, So, and as I was asking you earlier, is the cat now a bit miffed that? Or is the cat just, I don't care then, that's it.
He doesn't care, he's horrible. And I can see my next door neighbour Lucy, and Shelley is renowned in the neighbourhood, isn't he? He's just horrid. But he's our horrid.
That's it. And cats are just they've got their own unique personalities, so and we love them in spite of it. So what I would say to folk, if you have a question that you want to ask Audrey, you can certainly put it in the chat, and we'll get round to sort of pulling some of the questions out from the audience as well. So as I was kind of preparing for tonight, I had actually been talking to one of our employee Karsten earlier in the week when we were getting ready for the event, and he said to me, "Do you remember?" Probably February time, a year past February, when because he was totally obsessed by the whole thing coming. He was constantly reading all the news reports and everything. And you said to me, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's all going to blow over. We've heard of this before. There's been bird flu and SARS. It'll not come to anything. Well, you don't panic. It'll be absolutely fine." And he just said to me, "That prediction didn't quite come true, did it?" Yes, I think I've kind of hung up my prediction career thinking that's the crystal ball obviously wasn't working very well. And when you look back now and you think, did you have any idea that we were really going to be in that position where we would be kind of stuck and shut down completely?
No, it's when I did toy with the idea of putting in a few days or even a week pre-lockdown, and just actually to highlight that we were out the Friday before. We went on a train for a little day out, rock and roll day out in Hexham. We're in a busy pub because it was Cheltenham,
right.
And that's why the pub was busy, because Cheltenham was going on.
Yep.
So we went for lunch, and no idea, really busy train back to Newcastle. Yep. And then even before that, we had an International Women's Day event on the 8th of March, or round about the 8th of March, because that's the date. And I can remember a few of the people there were saying, "Oh, well, actually, there's no one coming from," I think it was somewhere like KPMG, because they've put out a statement that no employees have to go to any events. And of course, we were standing like this going, how ridiculous. That's absolutely ludicrous. Yes, I'll have another bottle of Chablis.
Yeah.
You know, so we were completely, you know, they had done it. And a friend of mine, you know, a friend of mine who was at the event, she had she was going to Singapore the next week to see her son who's working out there was working out there for a year. And of course, the next week she had her flights cancelled, and we were going, oh my goodness, you know, so it just all started to rattle down. And then even in the book, though, at one point, I say, well, you know, this is going on for 12 weeks, and, you know, and it just kept going into the long grass, didn't it? And then I wrote about when I furloughed Linda, and actually I was just looking at it today, because that's one of the days I can't read without crying. And I said, I've done her hopefully a reassuring letter, but I can't predict when she'll come back off furlough, but we're thinking it might be the 1st of June. What about that? You know, and you think, oh my days, 1st of June. No, not even 1st in 2021. She's still part-time furlough now, bless her.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's the thing. It's just been such a huge event. I do think, though, that you have you've written a book that will stand future generations in good stead if we ever get into this again. You know, particularly with making sure that they go and bulk buy toilet rolls, get extra flour and pasta in. You know, for all the things that we were really, you know, who was using all these toilet rolls? I mean, that's. There must be people still with toilet rolls stacked in cupboards and things.
And we were leading up to James's birthday, so he had his 18th, didn't you? Had his 18th in lockdown, and there was no self-raising flour to be had, you know. And you know, but we were saying, oh well, we'll just go around the neighbours and say, you know, we're desperate, kind of thing. But yeah, it was. I think I do say it in the book. The only thing I managed to stockpile early on was cheese. So that was canny. Got a great bit of Stilton on the last day of Phoenix Food Hall. £2. Can't say no to that.
Oh goodness me, that's an absolute bargain. Yeah,
I was quite chuffed with myself, but yeah, it was. It was a bit tricky when other things started running out. Yeah. But then I needed to. I talk about it in the book about the secret cupboard. I have secret stash, don't I? And I kept having to move the secret stash because they kept finding it and appearing with stuff.
And that's the thing. It's just, I mean, that, you know, yes, the constant theme of, oh goodness, I've got to feed them again, you know. And I loved that you decided to have the right. Okay, this is it. Here's the sort of menu. Here's the times when the cafe is going to be open.
You want to see the original? This is not the original. This is the second one.
Right.
Because I did the original one, and it got water damaged inexplicably. So I did another one. So here it is. This is the Gosforth Farm Cafe opening hours, with the instructions of fudge is not fruit, and the things that are not on the list. And this is faded now, but it said keep mum sane.
Yep.
But, great idea though as well. I think this is you're right, and Archie. It says wine on a Tuesday. So we snuck in a new little rule after we'd had an afternoon tea, and we enjoyed it when I had some wine and was much more calm. So they plied me with wine, so that was fun.
That's a theme, I think. You know, not about plying you with wine, but you know, just that you seem to create some new traditions for yourselves. You know that. You know, and have you kept any of them going? You know, that's, you know.
Well, they are, Archie particularly, I think, but both of them are masters at turning one-off event that suits them into a tradition. Right. It's tradition. You know, so if we're going to visit family in Dumfries, it suddenly became a tradition to go to Waitrose for a snack, go to Starbucks. Oh no, actually, I'm forgetting myself, aren't I, fellas? It was the triple header. Go to McDonald's for a breakfast, because I did it once to say, right, we have to leave early, and to get them out of their scratchers, I promised a McDonald's. So that became a tradition. So it ended up McDonald's, Waitrose, Starbucks, halfway. and that was the triple header, you know, so they are good at that. And of course they then say, well, it's takeaway night tonight, it's tradition, and that's continued. So that's not good, is it?
Those have been the positives then, because that's what I wondered, you know, about the fact that you were able to record, you know, your experience during that. And are there things that you actually look back and you say, do you know what, there were some things that actually did help and benefit us, although it was a really tough experience for so many?
Yeah, I think I mean, one of them was definitely the bikes. You know, I mean, it's well documented, isn't it? That the, you know, people got the bikes out of the garage, and you know, I had my lovely new bike on order, and that arrived, you know, just reasonably at the start of it. So we got Sean's old bike out. So me and Archie would go out doing his PE lessons on the bike, and really. What was great was I was able to get my confidence up and work out some routes. I didn't know what I was doing. Work out some routes when the traffic levels were low. You know, so I've continued that. You know, so if I'm working in town, I take the bike into town, and you know, so waving at Lucy. You know, but yeah, it's great. So we do that all the time, and it's amazing how far you get. So we've definitely kept that active travel bike thing going.
That's Isabel.
Is it? Oh, now you see, I wasn't going to tell people because I reveal that part with having to name the bike. So I don't normally name stuff, but I felt as though I spent that much time with her. Yeah, that's definitely been one. And what we haven't necessarily done is continued with the afternoon teas and the jigsaw and things like that. So, you know, so we've got back busy. But actually, it was lovely, wasn't it, at the start of lockdown with the weather? So we spent a lot of time in the garden and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm conscious there's a few questions. So do you want?
Well, there's just some. Yeah, there's some. Yeah. I mean, if it's sent up to you, so definitely we've just got. Well, we've got lots of comments here. Certainly, I'm seeing. So, and I mean, Deborah was just asking. So Deborah Murphy's on the call, and she just sent me a lovely text message saying I was looking well. So that's even. Thank you. Deborah's just been celebrating her book in Waterstones. You know, she was walking past. There's a picture of it with her going, "There's my book." So she said that she's. Thank you for tonight. She's not read your book yet, but it's on her list. Can't wait. Are you planning another one? And P.S. She imagines your training sessions must be so much fun.
Oh, thank you. And Deborah, your screen's right next to mine, and I can see you smiling. It's given me loads of boost as I look round. So it's great to see friendly faces and cheery faces. I was thinking about doing something different and everything, and then I thought, actually, I'm pleased with the name that we came up with. Obviously, I've kept scribbling. We were part of the problem, not the solution, because we made most of Eat Out to Help Out, I must say. So we are part of the problem. So I'm thinking the next one could be having a deep dive into the journals that I've kept scribbling in and call it Round the Bend. Round the Bend, coming out lockdown, one false start at a time. And just talk about all the little trips and then the stuttering. And then, of course, in that time, James went off to Sheffield to uni. We had a lockdown Christmas, you know, so there's a few good events in there. It's not a full stretch. It's not the full 100-day stretch, but I think I can pull out some highlights.
Yeah, so Natalie has asked, and she says, oh, so our question got split into different parts. That's why I was kind of getting confused there. And here you go, folks. This is the very focal, right? Trying to kind of try to make it focus so that I can see. So you were worried on a couple of occasions that no one was actually going to read your book. But they have. So how does that feel?
Oh, thanks, Natalie. And it's great to see you. And you were such a great support. We did actually in the little book writing group, and I see Richard there, we were reading out parts of it as well, and you know, and I did have those moments going, it's just dull, isn't it, to read about all of that, and then what I did was I came up with a little strategy, which is, here you go, here's the work in progress of, I wrote down what every day was, and the little code was whether it was funny, Archie will appreciate this, meh, or whether it was sad. And actually pulling out the funny things, I thought there's a reasonable flow there. And I kept turning up at the book writing group and going, I think it's okay. And then thinking, but once I could actually craft it a bit and went into editing, which was to take out that repetition, it became sharper. Got rid of the stuff prior to day one, so actually I don't know if Deborah would agree, and my other authors, of course, on my author friends on the call, but actually that editing, it takes time and it's well worth it. Michael Heppel, who was taking us through the book writing program, has various sayings that he says all the time, but one of them is, if in doubt, cut it out. I was just culling and culling, so a lot of it ended up on the cutting room floor, must say. But that made it feel sharper. And it was lovely to hear, Kim, when you were saying Sinclair was behind you and giggling. That was great,
Yeah, when he was working away, kind of doing the typeset, and you could hear him laughing, because it was like, often he's sitting there with earphones on, like with music playing, so just to drown my voice out, that's it, because he gets fed up listening to me. And I would try to think, what is he? And then so he's laughing, I thought, oh, it's Audrey's book he's working on. So that question from Fiona, which is that your book cover is fabulous. Can you tell us about that? So
it was, so we... So Kim has in her network the cartoonist Helen, and so we came up with Up the Wall, and then I said, oh, that's like the yoga position. So we'd had a little look at things like that, and then she did the first sort of version, which I must admit I looked slightly more deranged, probably near the mark. But by the time we sort of did it, I'll show you. Sean has done me cards to go into the signed copies. There's the real picture of the dogs. So I sent those to Helen, and she came up with the pictures of the dogs. So they're great, aren't they, in their little jumpers? So it sent her loads of pictures. She knew the theme of it. And then Sean saw one of I think it was about version 5 by this time. And he saw it and said, oh, actually, we'll have to get takeaways in there. And he added in some more. So it was more of a kind of collaborative.
Collaboration. Yeah, a collaboration. As all books are. I mean, that's the reality. Every book is nobody ever works on and creates something on their own. It's always a collaboration of kind of thoughts and ideas. And we'll just love Helen. She's brilliant at coming up with stuff. And Deborah was just saying, that Helen worked on her book cover as well. So there we go. I think Helen was trying to join us tonight, but I don't think she's on. So she said a shout out for Helen Cochrane's illustrations. Because we absolutely love working with her. She's brilliant. Archie has asked a question. Right, so Archie wants to know, what was the hardest part of the book writing process?
Oh, he's very good, isn't he? I think it's, I do quote Virginia Woolf in the book, that actually a writer should have £500 a year and a room of one's own. So I think part of it was actually finding space. And I did sit here quite a bit. This was my office early on, trying to get a bit of privacy. So I think there was a bit of that went on. But I think I find the scribbling easy. I think, and I think, Sean does say, and a couple of people have said it in the reviews on Amazon, if you didn't know that that's absolutely just a distilled thing of coming out, from here, you couldn't make it up. I find the scribbling easy, but then that distillation, to be honest, having confidence in yourself that you can wrestle it into something that other people will enjoy. I think that's probably the hardest, the wrestling bit, which takes its toll. And I found one final bit that I found really hard was the final couple of proofreads, because I would sit and read it for a couple of hours proofreading, and I'd come out of, actually I was in Archie's room one day because he was at his dad's, and I came out of the room and to be honest, I didn't know where I was, and I'd been in tears because it was a couple of sad days, and it was hard, to launch yourself back to that. So I found that particularly tough. Just that last sort of few weeks was hard, I think.
But then it's a bit like, I think it's a bit like childbirth. You know, I mean, there's a lot of pain and anguish, and then all of a sudden, then you've got a beautiful baby at the other end. So
From what I remember, there was less drugs though, Kim.
So that's what we need to start supplying now. It's like, oh, don't know.
Gas and air.
Gas and air, yeah, that's it. We'll send that out with the books. So just checking if I've got yeah. Miriam says she loves the Whippets imagery. Yeah, so and great that they got to speak in there as well. And Audrey said your book, so Fiona says your book really helped me to remember the happier parts of lockdown, and you have such a great style. Fabulous. So Richard was saying, so the 5 Alive sessions were a blast, especially when Audrey talked through her days. Is that part of your writing? Was that part of the writing group then? Just to explain.
It was our 5 Alive group. Yeah, they were great, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, really good. And you know, going through that process, actually, I think it started in October. You know, I do feel as though we've got a good group of friends for life. Actually, I know people say that, but it was great. It was really good.
Yeah.
Really great.
And that exactly what, if anybody else is here sitting there thinking, yeah, I know you've got some other your writers group, when you've got people around you that can support you and encourage you and say, yep, okay, yep, keep going, because there's always tough days, just like there were through lockdown. I mean, we all needed to reach out and connect with people, whether it was the gin bites in the garden and
that was Lucy.
That was Lucy, right?
Yeah, we did the first very clever thing of just opening the gate between our 2 gardens, so we stayed apart, so that was great. And Lucy's partner Simon nearly froze to death. But yeah, it was the gin bites were great. Those little kind of nights out with coats on, it was good.
Yep. And I suppose that's the thing. None of us probably imagined how much we were then going to be using Zoom and online, ways to communicate with people, and all the other things that we would have to do to try and fill our time and make the best of what was going on. And try and help our families all kind of cope through it. Whilst there's lots of, and that's the thing, you do get the sense, yeah, there's funny bits, there's lots of funny stuff, but you have got the low points in there as well, where you're sharing the reality of the difficult stuff that was coming out, what was coming through politically, the lack of some foresight with some of the things. So you do comment on what was actually happening.
Yeah, it was, and I did take some of the ranting out, but I've left in me calling Boris Johnson an ego-filled pillow of a man. Yeah. So yeah, and I refuse to call him Boris. He's called Johnson. He's a grown-up. We should treat him like that. So keeping all of that in. I did have a little wobble a few weeks ago where I thought, I might get sued, and then I checked in with Sean, and he says that's not the worst they get called. It'll be fine. So that's okay.
To be sued, it would have to not be true. So you can use the defence of truth, and that's just absolute fine. So yeah.
I do think I called Dominic Raab he has about as much charisma as a beige Mondeo left out in the February Tuesday rain. So I think that's a wee bit harsh, maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure they've definitely been called worse. So from your experiences going through that and having a chance then to kind of go back and think about stuff in the book, have there been have you learned any lessons? I don't mean in writing, I just mean was there anything from life really that kind of like, went, do you know what? Yeah, I've kind of learned a couple of lessons here.
You don't want me just to say no, do you?
Yeah. Make something up. Make something up, Audrey.
I think it's, I'm not sure I have actually, if the truth be told. I think it gave you a time just to do a complete break, didn't it? Mm. And I think it is just seeing things through a different lens. That actually a lot doesn't matter. We've all got over certain things, but actually I'm crystallised in the view that we have to have a better political system. I think that, I think that's made me more galvanised. I've always ranted about the prime contractor model when it comes to government procurement. That will not stop, and it, that's so. I think I've been more galvanised with some things. I should probably say I've learned how much of a support Sean is, and how lovely he is, and how much I should appreciate it. It's too much. You'll just all find it too saccharine. I've got a couple of questions actually. So
we'll pick up on these ones, and then we're going to get Audrey to do a little bit of reading, so we'll be entertained by the book. So here we are. We have got Fiona asking, if Sheldon could talk, what do you think he would say about all this?
Well, we have little jokes about what Sheldon would talk like, because he's the sort of he's quite haughty, as cats are, and he's a typical cat that if he falls, he tries to pretend he hasn't done it, so he's very much looking after his image. So we think that he probably would like to think that he talks very much like that. But actually, we do think he talks a bit kind of rough and goes, "Hey, so we do think he's probably not that posh. But what he would say about it, I definitely think he was not impressed that we stayed at home. And we just did not get out of his hair, and it was just too much, and he couldn't find anywhere to hide, so it was probably just ridiculous that we were just hanging about and getting in the way of him bullying Spike. So he loves a bit of the bullying of the dog, so he's probably not too impressed, but he's quite happy to be on the front cover, with him going up the wall as well. But I think he's quite happy that he's got joint. Yeah.
That's it. And so Anna has asked, hi Audrey, how did your partner and sons feel about having their lockdown lives chronicled? So,
well, Sean did a brilliant thing, which was to proofread it for me and to have a look through. So he did know. And then I sort of spent the next 2 days going, is it all right? And he went, I am a figure of fun. And I went, I know, but a good one. And then, of course, when the book actually came out and the boys started reading, I realised that they haven't actually read it all. But I think they're patient. They haven't left.
Too good. The cafe's open. There's all this entertainment put on for them.
I've got the magic keys to Asda. So I have them here by ransom, I suppose.
So that's it, exactly. It's brilliant that you've that they've been immortalised. There's people would pay thousands to have that done.
We'll have to talk about who's going to play them in the movie.
That's it, yes. And then do we get to sort of shout at the TV and have some kind of catchphrases and things to kind of to look for then when we get the movie done?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you'll have to read the book, everyone.
Yes, you need to know what we're talking about.
There's quite a lot of ranting. A lot of it was, how come you eat so much? But yeah, there's lots of ranting. Yeah, but neighbours here when we're in the garden as well, so that's nice.
So what I think we'll do now is we'll get you to have a little read at the section that you're going to tell us a little bit about. So.
Right. Well, I had a little scan through today, thinking, I will pick out a funny one, And like I said, I think, I'm sure it is, day 18. I thought I'll give that a little go to read day. No, still can't. I said to you earlier, I still can't read it without bursting into tears. And I thought, yeah. So I was in the office this afternoon before I came home, and I thought, just stop doing it to yourself. Don't read that one out. You can't get to the end. So I've gone for a funny one. So I've gone for day 22. And this is also thanks to my chat with Fiona and Mo last night. And I was saying, I don't know which one to read. So I'm not going to do a spoiler. But Fiona said, read the one when Sean falls over. So that's the trailer, and it's got, there was a few themes. And, like you said, Kim, one of them was commenting a little bit on what was happening politically, but, not too much on that. Dog walking and Sean doing something daft. And I do end this day with a little bit of one of the whippet worderies, and that comes from Spike. So it's day 22, and I'm going to include Spike's take on it. So here you go, in my Scottish Geordie twang, which you're getting used to. So it's week 4, day 22, Monday the 13th of April. Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives. That's the strapline that appears whenever the government do their briefings. However, in a rare turn of events, it's due to be that rarest of all things, a bank holiday and lovely weather. People are going to a mass in the parks and on the beaches, aren't they? So to counteract the risk, it's been changed to stay at home at Easter. Catchy. That is exactly what we intend to do, stay at home again, but this time at Easter. You can't beat a bit of variety, can you? Sean and I decide to both go on the morning walk, which is our little break of the rules, being out together, and all with the knowledge that one of us will have to go back out later. It will be the only rule breaking, but we feel like middle-aged rebels, none the same, so that's fun. We walk up the bridle path as there are gangs of high-vis chaps working on the flipping golf course. What's all that about? Take the day off, fellas. And they weren't 2 meters apart as one worked and the other one watched closely. I suppose even a pandemic can't change some habits of lifetimes. We get to the field and elect to go through the woods, running the usual risk of the dogs chasing after a deer. We don't have to wait long. They disappear in the worst direction, the direction of the road. They can be away for 20 minutes. And if you were the worrying type, you could imagine that they would hurt themselves somewhere and be lying waiting for you to find them, which you couldn't, and it would be awful. Welcome to my worrying mind. My racing imagination of doom is quietened when Spike comes into sight after a few minutes, and not long after we see Arthur on his way back. Except he stops short and we go to investigate. Oh yes, he's managed to get himself onto the other side of a skanky manky deep burn. In truth, it's more of a ditch, but let's call it a burn to make it sound picturesque. We call him over on the assumption that he'd managed to leap over the gap once. We realise that it must have taken the speed of the deer chase to get him to clear the gap on his outward journey. This time he jumps, but plummets into the decomposing compost shit mud, right up to his armpits. He thrashes about a bit, and we're immediately spooked by the thought of him drowning in what is effectively black quicksand. He can't climb up the sheer bank on our side, so he goes back. Bloody hell, it's now terrifying. I go downstream to see if I can get across. No, I tried to do that twice, because as everyone knows, doing something repeatedly has the reassuring feeling of at least trying. Finally, Sean decides to climb across on a couple of branches. He goes to get suitable bridge building material while I repeatedly tell Arthur, stay, good boy, just stay. Seems to work, and Spike sits with me shivering and looking equally concerned. What doesn't work, however, is Sean's makeshift bridge. The branches don't look secure, and I do actually think Sean has underestimated his bulk. This small collection of branches masquerading as a bridge would struggle to support Nadia Comaneci. His confidence in his construction ability is high though, so off he goes. What unfolds in the next minutes is one of the funniest things I have ever seen. Only regret? No phone. Because the hilarious disaster was pure comedy gold. He reaches the magic 3/4 point, also known as the point of no return, and starts to wobble. Trying to recover himself, he flails his arms around and commences the bend back, bend forward maneuver, which is always the sign of impending doom. He grabs a branch that is still attached to the tree. It breaks. He flails a bit more, and in what I swear was slow motion, falls into the black muck in a miracle dismount of feet first. Maybe he was channeling Nadia Comaneci. The black oozing muck immediately goes over his wellies, swearing in shoes. After scrabbling up the other side, he gets an enthusiastic hero's welcome from Arthur. He still has to deal with the sludge-filled wellies, so he sits on a log, and while fending off Arthur's appreciative whippet kisses, he tries to get his boots off. They are securely suctioned to his feet. And in what is now top comedy moment number 2, He straightens his leg upwards to drain out the offending contents. Now everyone knows that if you invert something, which is full of liquid, the runny material will drain in a downward direction. The physics is lost on Sean at this point, so on straightening his leg in the air, the full contents went down the way towards and up to this point, dry backside. Swearing and shoes again. We get home and don't have to worry about people staying 2 meters away from us. Boy, the stuff covering Arthur and Sean is absolutely stinking. Sean goes to spray Arthur down in the back garden, and Arthur proceeds to look so cold and sad that I carry him up to the shower for a warm shampoo. Good Lord, the black smelly sludge is also really sticky. I tuck Arthur under a blanket and make Sean a cup of tea. Both are traumatised and slightly in the huff with each other. I take myself off for a bike ride to allow them to recuperate while I chuckle most of the way around, replaying the hilarious morning scene. Happy days. So this is Whippet Wordery Spike with my little cartoon that I drew. Arthur can jump brilliantly. He jumps onto the kitchen workbench to see what he can find to eat. Sometimes when the family are out, he just does it for fun and to annoy the cat. He jumped over a big ditch today and I knew I couldn't make it, so I went back to Human Mum. Arthur got stuck and it was a lot scary. Human Dad can't jump, but he can fall. And also he can shout. I think we are both in the bad books, and Arthur says not to worry and that they always get over it, but I do worry. When we get home, I was sick on the kitchen floor because my tummy knots up when there is a bad mood. Human Mum mopped it up and tucked me in under a blanket. She just laughed. She's laughed a lot this morning, so that's nice. There you go.
Well done, well done. Fantastic. So there you go. There you are, a little snippet of day 22, and there is Sean. He survived to tell the tale.
It was hilarious.
It was horrible.
Actually, there was some of the dog walkers went by, and they were sort of laughing. But yes, we still go that way, but we have to watch what we're doing. Yeah.
So Sean's not been too traumatized then by the whole episode.
I do have a photo of him standing there with black right up to the knees, and it was disgusting, wasn't it?
Quite horrible.
Yeah.
So for lots of more tales of poking fun at Sean and stories of food.
Thank you, Miriam. Miriam says Sean's a saint. Yeah, they do. They stick together. They're like thick as thieves, those two.
So lots of great comments saying brilliant, we loved it. They want the audio version, so there you are, you've got to go and get that started now then, and that beautiful accent, that's what it is. So where, yeah, Audrey, Deborah's now asking, where, perfectly timed, where is the best place to get the book?
Is to get it from my website. So the website is Dogs Life Books. So I can put that link or get that link, Dogs Life Books, because that's from an Ingram Sparks copy, so that's nice. And then I'll sign it as well. So from the website is great.
Yeah, we can just, I know if I had been here, I didn't have my trusty assistant tonight who's usually got, there's the link, quick, it's in. So it's like, it takes me forever to try and type stuff, because particularly when it's like the keyboard's under the desk and I'm trying to find it. So we'll put the link up and we'll send information out to anybody who else wants. Dogs Life Books, and your website is brilliant. So there's definitely go and check that out. There we are. Well done. Audrey Macnaughton, best-selling author, has actually said Dogs Life Books. So there we go. That's where you go. That's where you go and find it. And so can we say thank you so much, Audrey, for sharing your story with us, telling us about your book, sharing your wonderful wit and enthusiasm. It's been a pleasure and a joy to work with you on this book. It really has. And we're definitely looking at the Fringe Festival next year. I think Edinburgh Fringe would definitely have do you know who's just appearing?
Is my
Mr. Heppel has just appeared. If he's I can't actually see. So Michael,
at a wedding, everyone. He says he would pop in, so he might be a bit slurry.
Yeah. So I'm going to unpin me so that we can. I'll take the pin out of me, hopefully. Right, I'm going to remove my pin. Let's see if I can find Michael, I'm going to pin you. So look out, Michael, that's my heart, because I might pin you at the up beside Audrey so that we can see. There we are. I'm going to, there we go. We've got you on the.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I on?
You're on.
You're up. You're up.
Do you know, I've spent the last 54 minutes trying to escape a wedding so I can come and join the Zoom. We've had all sorts of things going on, but I had to get here. So even though I might be last, I'm hopefully going to just say, Audrey, you are amazing. You are incredible. I have laughed out loud with your book. I mean, everybody's been saying that tonight. I know I haven't been here for the first part, but I know for a fact that everybody's been saying the same thing. They've laughed out loud. They've been entertained. They've been overjoyed. It's beautifully written. Thank you. A million times, thank you. And here I am. This is the grim northeast. Look at this. This is the northeast of England. Here I am. This is in the middle of Newcastle, the centre of Newcastle, right now, on a grim night. We've got the lake here. We've got the old museum here. We've got everybody here, and I just want to say, Audrey, I am absolutely blown away by what you've done, because for many, many reasons. But the first thing is you've taken something which has happened to everybody and you've turned it into something which is special to read. And I have to say, I was one of the first people who went, a whole thing about what happened during COVID. Will it be interesting? Whatever. Man, I am delighted to be proven wrong, because it's your take. And that's what makes it so interesting. And right from the moments, like, you know, cycling down the quayside and then having to get home uphill and all that type of stuff, which is great for local knowledge, but it's also for anybody who might read your book. It's just absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A million times thank you. I have a wedding I need to get back to. I am 2 bottles of wine in. I'm having a great time, but I had to make it tonight. So, 1,000 times.
Oh, thank you. Great to see you. I really appreciate that.
I'm going back to Wylam Brewery.
Yeah.
All right.
Vino.
You don't want me to take you into the wedding. It's rather messy already. All right. Take good care. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye. Fantastic. There you are. I mean, perfect timing, didn't he? It was perfect timing at the end there to pop in.
I think he's doing rather well, because the wedding started at 12.
only 2 bottles of wine in, you know. Yes.
That's a bit like what you tell your doctor. You always add 50%, don't you?
So that's a perfect way for us to end. What I would love you all to do now, I'm going to put us all back to gallery view so I actually get to see everybody. And I'm just going to put this chat down out the way for me for a minute. I think it'd be lovely if you could actually all unmute yourselves. Now we're going to have this tons of noise all of a sudden will appear, but if you can unmute yourself, because we really want to give I can hear myself now. A big cheering. And say, well, great luck with your we love you. Congratulations. Yeah. Oh. Thank you.
Richard's actually
When we think that's it. We could because it's the challenge of Zoom, isn't it? When you're in the room, it's brilliant when you can do all this, but when you're actually on Zoom and you just get that repeating noise going round and round again. So thank you so much. Thank you. Your book is absolutely amazing. We love it. We love your entertainment tonight. And Michael said it all. It's a brilliant book. Go out and buy it. Tell all your friends. Send them for perfect presents for everybody. That's the stocking fillers. Get the books purchased. And another thing we say, just really good to help an author, is write a review for them. Please, please help Audrey. Go and write reviews. Any site at all that you can buy them on. Amazon's great, but obviously everywhere else, you don't even need to buy it on Amazon to write a review on Amazon. So you can go and buy it from Dog's Life Books directly from Audrey, but you can go and write your review on Amazon for her. So can I say congratulations? Thank you so much I hope you've enjoyed your night as well, Audrey, and we really, really wish you all the best of luck with it.
Oh, thanks, everyone. Thank you for supporting me, and nice to see you boys on the screen. But yeah, thanks for making the effort to come along, and all the support that I've had has been absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Great stuff. Right.